Welcome to Corporality Media, your go-to source for the latest in finance and business news. In this weekly segment, we'll cover the top 20 stories shaping the economic landscape, from market trends and investment insights to corporate strategies and global financial developments. Stay informed, stay ahead with Corporality Media. There will be rigorous rules for government subsidies for green manufacturing, Chalmers. Amid warnings over the government's recently announced Future Made in Australia plan, Treasurer Jim Chalmers said taxpayer funds would not be wasted. Proposed green manufacturing subsidies will not be a free-for-all, Treasurer Jim Chalmers says, as the Albanese government faces criticism over the policy by its own hand-picked Productivity Commission. As it happened, Boral says yes to revised 7 bid, ASX closes lower despite Wall Street's late rally on inflation optimism. The Australian share market closed lower on Friday, as higher-than-expected U.S. inflation saw expectations for Fed rate cuts further pushed out and reduced. Boral now recommends its shareholders accept a takeover offer from its largest shareholder, the Stokes family-controlled Seven, after negotiating an increase in the cash component of the deal. Market power allows CEOs to raise their own salaries, Queensland economists say. Market dominance has allowed large companies to hike prices and chief executives to raise their own salaries, researchers have found. Economist at University of Queensland VC senior fellow John Quiggin said executives were able to cream money off the top on the back of growing market power and wider profit margins. Charges against Meta sparked by Andrew Forrest over false cryptocurrency ads on Facebook discontinued. Criminal charges brought against Meta instigated by one of Australia's richest people, Andrew Forrest, over fraudulent Facebook cryptocurrency ads have been discontinued in court. Your power bills are going up, according to one energy boss. Jeff DeMarie, CEO of Alinta Energy, Australians will have to pay more for energy in future, he says. We need to be honest about that. Honesty and transparency are features that have arguably been missing from an often ideologically driven and contorted debate about energy policy in this country. Aus Post to have letter delivery frequency from Monday. Australia Post will only deliver letters every second day from next week, as a generational shift in the nation's postal services takes effect. From Monday, 98% of locations will have letter delivery reduced to every second business day, and delivery times for ordinary letters will be extended by a business day. That means within the same state, letter delivery times will be 4 or 5 business days, depending on location, and 6 to 8 business days for interstate letters. Vietnamese real estate tycoon Tron My Lan has been sentenced to death over the country's largest ever financial fraud case. The 67-year-old chair of real estate company Van Tien Phat was charged with embezzling $12.5 billion $19.1 billion, nearly 3% of the country's 2022 GDP. Prosecutors said on Thursday the total damages caused by the scam amounted to $27 billion $41 billion. The court ordered Lan to pay almost the entire damages sum in compensation. Aldi has no current plan to come to Tasmania, CEO tells Senate inquiry in supermarket pricing. Tasmania does not have Aldi supermarkets, but does have 17 Coles and 32 Woolworths stores across the state. Aldi CEO says the company's business model has led it to stay clear of Tasmania, far north Queensland, and the Northern Territory, adding there was no current plan to come to Tasmania. U.S. investor Quinberg gears up to build giant battery at Brisbane's $2.5 billion supernode. U.S.-based investment group Quinberg Infrastructure Partners is poised to start construction on one of Australia's largest battery energy storage systems as part of its $2.5 billion supernode project in Brisbane's north. Black Hops Brewing administrators scoping out potential buyers for embattled business. Administrators appointed last month to Gold Coast craft beer company Black Hops Brewing, a company once estimated to be worth $65 million following a record-breaking crowdfunding campaign, have revealed they are working with potential buyers looking to secure a sale of the embattled business. NetWealth founder to leave executive role as funds rise $6.7 billion in 3 months. One of the largest wealth managers on the ASX reported a $6.7 billion lift in funds under administration (FUA) for the March quarter this morning after its investments grew in value and its attraction of new funds was up by a substantial 62.2%, yet its share price has plummeted. Law firm profit surge as survey reveals robust client demand and margins. 4 in every 5 Australian law firms are reporting profit margins of more than 10%, compared to just over half the industry hitting this benchmark in 2019. China has removed tariffs on Aussie wine, but re-establishing ourselves in the market won't be easy. China's Ministry of Commerce has finally ended its tariffs on Australian wine, which had been imposed for more than 3 years at rates as high as 218.4%. Tech Council urges merger reforms to consider Aussie startup dependence on acquisitions for exits. Amidst a significant funding gap in later stage rounds for startups as well as hurdles to initial public offerings, IPO, the Australian Tech Council, ATC, has called on the federal government to consider the crucial nature of acquisition-based exits in the founder community when implementing its proposed merger reforms. Solving a massive problem, life admin app Eggy's journey is a $7 million startup, motivated to develop a reliable life admin app after receiving a $1,000 fine for forgetting to renew a car registration. Gold Coast couple Kate Morgan and Kirk Reynoldson are now sitting on a $7 million tech company that is expanding its consumer-facing product to target the corporate sector. Indigenous company Bridgman to build new Brisbane co-working project The Wheelhouse Hamilton. Economic Development Queensland, EDQ, has selected Supply Nation certified Indigenous company Bridgman to lead construction of a $5.9 million co-working space within Brisbane's North Shore Hamilton Priority Development Area, which will accommodate up to 170 workers in a warehouse-style building. Centuria lifts stake in real estate finance JV after assets quintuple in 3 years. Centuria Capital Group, ASX, CNI, is lifting its stake in a real estate finance joint venture, JV, forged with Base Capital Partners in 2021, spending $57 million in cash and shares to lift its total holding in Centuria Base Credit to 80%. Property spruiking lawyer Grubisa and Master Wealth Control found to have breached consumer law. High-profile Sydney lawyer Dominique Grubisa has suffered a new blow after the federal court today found that both she and her company Master Wealth Control breached Australian consumer law through the promotion of real estate education programs for up to $9,200 each. Owner of OPSM, Sunglass Hut and Oakley fined $1.5 million for spamming. Luxottica, the eyewear retailer that owns the brands OPSM, Oakley and Sunglass Hut, has paid a fine of more than $1.5 million for sending more than 200,000 marketing messages in breach of Australian laws against spamming.